Cyber attacks are increasing, so are the use of drones to kill and create havoc. AI could take our jobs, rob us of our humanity, and increase the digital divide. All of this is true, but we have a choice. Succumb to despair or dream big. And this panel will focus on the power of communities to build bridges and collectively build a better future. It's my pleasure to introduce Steffi Czerny, my friend, director and founder of DLD Media, Dan Burgar, CEO and co-founder of Frontier Collective, and Ricardo Mesquita, managing director of Endeavor Portugal. So let's start by each of you just describing your communities. Steffi, I'll start with you.
Hi, I'm Steffi, and I founded 20 years ago a conference network called DLD. DLD stands for Digital Life Design, and it's not a tech conference. It's not a business conference. It's not a politic conference or science conference. It's not an art conference, but each bucket is important to the network of DLD. I think it's in our times, which are so fast and so complex, we need to hear different voices. We have to leave our buckets. We have to leave our comfort zones. We have to be curious and engaged. But you can't be curious if you live in your bubble. You have to look out of your system and get the news from different people. So I did this, and I bring people together from the various fields, and it's fun for me. I like people, and I like to listen to them, and somehow I like to define patterns. Good startups have sometimes the same patterns. They are driven. Artists are sometimes ahead of their time. So I take them as catalysts for societal change. Just to give you some examples, we have 2007, we had Mark Zuckerberg. Nobody knew him then. He had 2 million users, only 2 million users at stage. He said, maybe we will have more users soon. Oh, yeah, you know, Mark Zuckerberg. A young singer, artist, so important for me, from New York. She was very shy, but on stage she was very extroverted. And I was, oh my God, I don't know. And she wrote me a thank you letter. Thank you, Steffi, for having me. It was an amazing experience to be at DLD. And I dumped the letter. Too bad. It was Lady Gaga. But then nobody knew her. I can go on for stories. I don't want to bore you. But you know, in former times they had their salons. This society lady. I'm not a society lady. I'm a curious housewife from a little village, and I love to bring people together.
And as somebody who has been attending your events for 20 years, you know, you connect to the unexpected, and it's always very, very special. So.
Thank you. I love to. Who of you know Kara Swisher? And who of you know Scott Galloway?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They met at DLD, for example.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
So, Dan, tell us about Frontier Collective.
Thank you. I'm Dan Burgar, CEO of Frontier Collective. So I was, really bringing people together about 10 years ago in the VR AR space. Probably a decade too early. The technology still hasn't really taken off, but what I really saw was incredible potential with a lot of this innovative frontier technology. So I ended up starting the Frontier Collective to bring together all these technologies that are going to be at the cusp of mainstream adoption. Basically now, it's really starting to shift. So AI, climate tech, robotics, mobility, and climate tech, really looking at how can we bring these people together to look at, instead of creating silos, can we connect people and bring together these interconnected communities from around the world? Locally, back home in Canada, we really look to help our ecosystem and try to drive growth within Vancouver, and really trying to push policy and investment into the startup community over there. So through that is connecting my global community with the local community, and I'm finding more than ever now we need to connect more globally. It's not a local regional game anymore.
So come to DLD.
I would love to. I'd be honored. So, I think, people from all different types of walks of life, especially what you do, is going to be more important, because then we'll have more diverse sets of thinking, and, be able to kind of stew that up to ensure that we can build a brighter future.
So, Ricardo, talk about Endeavor, please.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I mean, Endeavor is a global organization, a global network of entrepreneurs. It's a global network of trust, which I think is a key word in the way we relate to each other globally. My journey with building these networks started long ago, after 2007, 2008 crisis. Portugal was living a very difficult time, and we started sort of the grassroots process of making what the country has become. I was part of a large group of people, a collective, that helped develop some of the tools that allowed for companies to establish themselves, and for entrepreneurs to also foster their teams and blossom from there. Fast forward, I ended up getting across Endeavor in Chile, and then in Miami, and then in Madrid. And then post-COVID, I helped fundraise and founded, as founding MD, the group in Portugal. We've been running for 2.5 years. Part of the work I do on a daily basis is talk to entrepreneurs and foster those connections as well. Before we came in, Stan was talking to us, and he was sharing. We all learn from each other, which I think is a fundamental aspect of the work we do, because if you don't put people together, and necessarily different people, different generations, different gender, different geographies, it's very difficult to actually establish that dialogue.
Let's talk about the power of serendipity. When you start putting together different groups of people, can you think of some examples from your networks you already mentioned Steffi, Kara coming together with Scott. What about you, Dan or Ricardo?
Yeah, I think something that's very present right now in my country. I'm Portuguese, born and raised, many years away from Portugal, now back, is the fact that you have the locals, and then you have the new Portuguese who are coming in, entrepreneurs, either building their businesses, they came in with their families, their kids go to school there, and you have investors, and this is happening across the country. There's sort of a concentration around the Lisbon area, but happening across the country. And the fact that we're looking into establishing a bridge between those two worlds, so that there's transfer of knowledge, transfer of capital, there's learning from each other, and to make it less of a transient and transactional sort of effect, and more of a, you get established, you understand that there will be in a generation a very different sort of demographics and population. So you really want everybody to learn from each other and foster that connection. So we do this. Obviously, we do this first and foremost with entrepreneurs. That's the founders that we work with. But I think there's a multiplier effect and a positive spillover to the overall society, and community.
So let's talk about the role of not just networks, but cities as superconnectors. Do you feel like Lisbon is taking on that role?
It certainly is living its own momentum right now. I think there's a myriad of reasons why that is happening. There's fiscal incentives. But I think the state of the world, and in particular after COVID, I think a lot of people realized that they were keen on finding a place where they could move in, not just for business reasons, but also for family. And I think the drivers became a little bit different. So now you come across, there's not a single week that I don't meet someone new, just move in from, multitude of countries, from the US, from Turkey. Brazil, from so many so many places around the world. I think being able to build on top of that and actually develop a healthy ecosystem and community is the challenge right now.
Well, what about Vancouver and Munich and the communities that are evolving there?
Yeah, with Vancouver, we're lucky. We're super close to Silicon Valley. It's a 2.5-hour flight and 2.5-hour flight to LA. So we have the ability to connect with various ecosystems that are connected to capital. So for our startups that are trying to just fight to stay alive, we can really connect with the communities down there in Seattle as well to ensure that our startups can access capital and scale their companies. But in Canada, we have this issue around taking risks, and I think that's something that we need to evolve. Canada's known to be very friendly, and we love that about ourselves. But we need to take bold leaps now, and being able to create community in this environment. Even though with the shitstorm that's happening in the U.S. right now, we do still need to really connect with the U.S. ecosystem, because that's where the risk capital is. And if we're going to build and grow our ecosystem in Vancouver, we really need to kind of think globally and to think more around the U.S. But now we need to look at other ecosystems to connect with, like Portugal or Germany, and look at other ways to ensure that our startups get access to the leaders in those spaces.
So I have a question.
Let me talk about Munich.
Sorry.
Munich in the heart of Europe. Munich is the city of Audi and BMW, of Siemens, of you name it, for MAN, big industry, German industry. But Munich is also the city of quantum physics, of fusion energy. It's also the city of art, of academy, Lehmbach-Haus. Kandinsky started to make modern art in Munich. So I think it's very important to mix, and we live at the Alps, and we have amazing startups. We have 9 unicorns brought out of our Munich Technical University. Imagine 9 unicorns. And Silicon Valley is nice, but we should be proud of Europe. Not only of Munich, we should be proud of Berlin, we should be proud of Lisbon. We underestimate the power of connections, of connectivity. You mentioned serendipity. I think serendipity is something you can force. How can you force it? You have to be open for the moment. You have to be curious, very curious. And you have to be curious about the theme which drives you. My theme is people. Who are the people who are going to change the world? Who are the ones? How do I find them? We had Sam Altman 3 years ago in Munich. 3 years ago, Sam Altman was, for insiders, of course, everyone knew Sam Altman, but the public didn't know him. How did we find him? It's this is what drives me, and what I think drives us. You, Jennifer, you're a journalist. This drives you too, don't you think so?
Yes, absolutely. And I wonder, and this question is really for you, Steffi, and for you, Ricardo. I'm wondering if we are at this moment. So, there's been a lot of talk at this conference about the need to move from national borders to create a real Europe. And today, Europe is absence of war. It's a concept. It's not a feeling. Mm-hmm. We have to be proud of, Europe, but we also have to define what does Europe stand for. And I think that, the people here in this room, I think young people in Europe that are part of the DLD community, are part of your network, are the ones that can do what Brussels and politicians have failed to do over decades, which is inspire these young people to say, we don't want an AI that is, based on cutthroat capitalism or totalitarianism. We want an AI that encompasses European values. So let's go build it. What do you think?
Yeah, so maybe and another word, just taking on what Steffi was saying as well, is intentionality. I think if we put the purpose and we aim to actually accomplish something, I think it gives it much more power in the way we connect. So just to give you a sense of our presence in Europe, of Endeavor, we have now 10 countries, and not necessarily the most obvious one, so that we're in Southern Europe, so there's a lot of affinity: Portugal, Spain, Italy, Greece. And then we have an office in Dublin and in Ireland. And then the interesting thing is that there's also a presence in Poland, the Ukraine, Bulgaria, and Romania. And with my peers in that particular region, I've been learning a lot because they live the daily challenges, and they see it through the lens of entrepreneurship and how can we empower entrepreneurs to actually transform economies and show that it's possible through resilience and continuously trying to build something new out of countries that are not necessarily on their best shape, and you see that's possible. There's obviously an alignment of founders have gone through similar things at different stages, so they tend to support each other more openly. They're within I am aware that I'm within in a way, in some shape or form, a bubble of but I think it's possible to enlarge it, and it's possible to use the same values or the same drivers to actually build this in a broader scale. And some of these gatherings that we go to, I mean, we've been seeing for the last day and a half what is happening here as well. And I think you sense in this room and in all the other conversations the power of connection as well. And I think that if I take something from being here in Tallinn, which I haven't been in a long time, and I see the transformation of the city, is that the power of connection.
It's amazing.
That's more important than ever. We are living through a loneliness epidemic, and I'm not sure if any of you have read Robert Putnam's book Bowling Alone, but it talks about social capital. And back in the day, in the the 50s and 60s, you'd have clubs, and you'd join a bowling club, or you'd join like the Lions Club, and you'd meet people there that don't think similarly to you, but you're able to have dialogue and discourse with them. And I think we need to go back to that. We need to really look at how can we find those third spaces to connect. And I think the four of us here really build these containers to make serendipity and connection happen. And as we build startups and help startups move forward, I think that journey is very, very lonely. And I think we need to create these spaces to make sure that that we can really make these connections happen and create the spaces to make serendipity happen, essentially.
I hate clubs. I tell you why. Because clubs are imploding systems. They are closed. Closed clubs are terrible. I think we should be much more open-minded and integrate many, many clubs in our world. So we have a variety of interests, of people, of generations, as you said. I think it's important that we get this amazing change of what AI will bring us right. I think we have to dive into a new kind of enlightenment. We have to take the elder generation, which I belong to, but also the young generations, in a positive way. We shouldn't make them fear and make them afraid. We should give them positive optimism about their future. If we of course, we have a lot of problems right now, but what can we do? We can engage with an open mind. Each one of us, in the village, in the community you live, in the work you work, should be open to the change this and not hide like an ostrich in the sand. Put your head in. You should be open to learn, and we should communicate this openness much more than we should downgrade it.
I think you've hit on something super important, Steffi. I was really surprised, a bit shocked, at this breakfast yesterday morning that Meta organized. Someone there was talking about a recent poll in Europe that of citizens across the European countries, and in almost all cases, when the citizens were asked to rank what was most important to them, technology was at the absolute bottom of the stack. And, of course, politicians are going to respond to what the citizens want. So I think there's a problem here, because we have to change the narrative, and we also have to change the focus. Because if we're only going to be talking about how AI is going to make business more productive, and the future of work, and how AI can, make better killing machines, people are not going to make that a priority. We need to talk about what does AI mean to life? Not just to work, but to life. How is it going to improve our lives, and what can it do for us? Somebody even, who is kind of in my network orbit asked me at the dinner the first night I arrived, we were talking about the AI race, and he said, but why is it important that we win? Like, what's the goal? And I think we've forgotten that we need to answer those fundamental questions if we want to bring everybody along for the ride.
Yeah, we need to lean into the humanity. We're losing out on the IRL experiences, right? And I look at, for example, Paris Station F, where it's essentially a factory where startups and the community can get together and get the experience, but the mentorship and the tools that they need to connect, but without doing it in these silos. And I think we're moving towards a humanity revolution, because people are going to clamor away from technology and try to get more into the analog future. And I think that's a good thing, but with the advent, with AI sort of taking over, we really need to look at how do we really connect with the human and the humanity aspect, because AI is going to put us further away from each other and disconnect us more than ever.
So the emphasis needs to be not only on like the human aspect, which is very important, but also on how we're going to use AI. How are we going to use it for good?
Maybe I'll pick on. I don't know if you saw the conversation yesterday with the co-founder of Mistral AI, Arthur.
No, I was on.
That was really powerful, because talking about a new generation. He's born in '92. And he was very straightforward in the sense of saying, look, we need to build our own structure in Europe because we want to have AI sovereignty. We definitely want to make sure that we have the tools, we don't want to, and the independence to actually do that. And I think that level of pragmatism and it's not a usual, and in a way it's very sort of eye-opening as well. Because I think he's in many ways right in what he's pursuing, and let's see if that becomes one of the initiatives that actually brings Europe more aware and closer together. I think the narrative around what technology, because using the word and the survey you mentioned needs to change as well. We need to have other people. So if you elevate some of the people building things and building for good, and they become references, their voice can be heard. That happens at the DLD. That happens elsewhere in Europe. And in that sense, others can relate to that and actually become the narrative a little bit more across the board, rather than in sort of a very niche kind of environment, which I think it's in many ways it still is in Europe.
And Dan, and for Vancouver, you're bringing people from different disciplines together. Is that resulting in new solutions that are helping humanity?
Yeah, we do an event at South by Southwest in Austin every year, and we bring a number of Canadian startups to be able to showcase what they do. So for me, I see a lot of potential in a lot of these founders and want to give them a platform to be able to showcase their solutions to global audiences. So I had this company called Urban Logic, and they presented their AI solution in front of all these amazing corporates and executives and investors that were there. And literally, as the founder got off the stage, they met with their current client who they just recently closed a $100 million deal together. So just if you're able to create that container where that serendipity and magic can happen, good things will happen. For me, I look at more about the human connection, where it's more about getting out of the surface level and getting deep. That's where you get them really meaningful connections, even if it eventually leads into a deal or an investment. It's not usually around that how it really starts. It really starts around just creating that container where people feel like they can just be themselves, and then magic can happen. So that's really kind of the sweet sauce within the events that we do to bring people together.
Okay, Steffi, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, maybe. I regard AI as a tool and as a culture technology. I think it's like reading or writing or doing math. We have to embrace it, and our kids, my grandchildren, they have to learn in kindergarten to get along with it. And I think it's not a theoretical thing which will change the world. It will change the world, but the change begins in front of your house door. You have to learn with AI, for example, the singing of birds. AI can identify which bird is singing in your neighborhood. This is a very simple, easy step, but it gets you nearer to your world with it. And I think these are the small examples where not only do your homework with AI, but explore your neighborhoods, explore your ancestry, explore your medicine, your health. I think we have to learn to get in touch with our bodies much more, and we should take AI as a tool for it. There's a German word, it calls Entfremdung, estrangement. Is it estrangement? Can you? And we have to take AI to learn to give up Entfremdung, the estrangement. We have to get in contact with ourselves and with our communities. And DLD brings people together who are in the driver's seat concerning developing the tools. But you all here sitting in the audience, should spreading the word for it in a positive way. And I'm so grateful. What you do, it's amazing. How many interviews are you doing here? You spread
You're
the
being
word.
interviewed now.
Well, Jennifer, you're an amazing person. She really changes our perception what's going on with AI, because you speak to the persons who are acting.
Thank you, Steffi. That's really kind. But I have talked to a lot of people here, and I wanted to share with the group an example of the power of community that is geographically relevant to where we are here today. Women are playing a transformative role in influencing the Ukrainian economy during this ongoing war. And they're demonstrating remarkable resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity. And I learned that they've been responsible for approximately half of all new businesses established in the country, a testament to their entrepreneurial spirit during this conflict. Additionally, the women are additionally stepping into positions within traditionally male-dominated sectors like security, transportation, and demining operations. And this is all being done in the spirit of sisterhood. And I want to share this LinkedIn post by a woman named Marika True, who is the manager of the Inner Hub incubation hub here in Tallinn. This was from a few days ago. She said, during the past 6 years, I've had the chance of mentoring and supporting empowering women entrepreneurship programs in Ukraine. I feel so much gratitude for having a chance to be part of the success and growth of these strong women who are rebuilding the Ukrainian economy and providing for their own families. On Friday, October 3rd, so last week exactly, they hosted their last program of the cohort for this demo day for the women. And the night before the demo day in Poltava, there was one of the worst bombing raids since the beginning of the war. The air raid sirens started around midnight. They didn't stop until around 8 o'clock in the morning. Nobody slept, but at 9 a.m., all the women showed up to do their demos and ready to pitch. And one of the finalists couldn't travel because just days before, a Russian rocket destroyed her business. But she still presented her project. And she was connected remotely so she could share her results with the judges. And during this whole presentation, one of the other finalists got up and said, it's the first time I'm part of a program where I feel like it's not about competition, but about supporting each other. And to me, this is proof that even in the darkest times, during the hardest of circumstances, we can choose to work towards a better future and lift each other in the process. So I really want this panel to leave the people in this audience with a feeling of optimism. Yes, we are living in dark times, but we have a choice. So,
Yes, we have a choice.
Think about what you can do as an individual, and then think about how much more powerful that can be if you work through the power of community.
Absolutely.
So I leave you, the three of you, to end with what you want to be your parting thought.
I just want to give not even a close comparison to what you just shared with us. But we think of the work that I'm involved in thinks a lot about the next generation, right? Yes. And twofold in the sense of not just doing it in the capital of the country, but also spread across the country. So a thing that an initiative that we're developing and the consequence of that is naturally talking to the younger generation. And here I'm talking about 18 to 24, and rolling out programs that allow them to also get in touch with some of the more accomplished people that have gone through those processes. And in a week's time, I'll be in a city called Guimarães, which is where Portugal was born, and exactly talking about some of the things we're discussing here as well to a very different audience from the one that we have here. But the point is, you go through the motions, you make yourself the time, you prioritize the things that you think will have a more impact in our own communities with the reach that we can have. That's what I'm saying. I think it's up to us.
That's, I think, a great thing to walk away from this panel. That it is up to us.
But it's up to us. But to make it happen, take yourself serious. It's not on the past. It's a little bit about the future, but first of all, it's in the moment. It's in the moment, here and now. And take it serious. Take yourself in the loop. Engage for you and for your community.
Yeah, for me, I have to agree with all of you. I think, in the past, I felt like community building was super difficult. It's hard to make money, and I see all the entrepreneurs that I'm helping, raise these big, investment stages and exit and become millionaires. But for me, it's really about that human connection and bringing people together. And I feel like if any of you are focused on doing that, it's going to be more fulfilling than really anything to do with starting a company or building and growing a company. I really care about bringing people together, and I think more than ever, at this time, we need to come together and bring people together, because it's a really interesting time in the world. But we're talking about urgency, but I see hope. So I think community builders and people that bring people together are doing great
Here
work.
now.
And lean into it.
Here,
Yeah.
you are.
Urgency
You're the community
and,
right now.
Urgency and agency. Yeah.
So thanks to all three of you for building those bridges that are going to help us get to a better future. And thank you to the audience for listening. Let's have a nice round of applause for these super connectors.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.